very sacred. The great chasm itself, the basin, the rock of Sophocles, and the hollow pear tree, the ancient stone tomb. So, surrounded by this mystery, he sat down and quietly removed all his filthy and worn-out clothes, and then he spoke to his daughters and asked them to fetch some pure running water from a stream somewhere, so that he could wash himself and pour an offering to the spirits of dead. Nearby, there's a small hill, sacred to the meter, goddess of growing things, which is always fresh and well-watered. So they did as he asked, and soon brought the water and washed him with it, and dressed him reverently, with all the ritual customary when a man is dying. But when he was satisfied, everything was done as it should be, you know. He had his way in everything, and they attended to his lightest whim. Then there was a low rumbling, like a thunder from the bowel of the earth. The girls were frightened, and they cried, and they fell on their knees, trembling and swaying from side to side, as they were heartbroken. But when he heard them, and he saw how upset they were, he lifted them up. He lifted them up, and he put his arms around them. He soothed them, and then he said, "My dear daughters, today I must leave you, as every father must leave their children. Today is the end of me, my life is over, and your long penance is over to you, the never-ending task of looking after me, which you performed without any complaint, although I know how irksome and time it was. One word, though, makes every burden lighter to bear. That word is love. And I have loved you as no man has ever loved his children, but you must carry on living your own life without me now, and you must leave them to the full." So that's how it was. And they were all in tears. We all embraced each other, clinging so hard. It seemed they could never be parted, but eventually they were. And then the crying stopped. There was silence. But suddenly, there was an unearthly voice, a stomach turning sound, so that you could see everyone trembling and everyone's hair was standing on end. And that voice, which was low and deep, kept repeating like a terrifying whisper, "Oedipus! Oedipus! Your life is over! To the very hour you linger! Too long! Too long!" So, when Oedipus heard these unearthly summons, he asked for Theseus to come close to him. When Theseus was by his side, he said, "Listen, my good friends, I want you to promise, and you give your right hand on it, my two daughters, you give him yours, that you will never leave them to their own device of the world's mercy, but do whatever it seems best for them, in the certain circumstance of the future." And Theseus, like the generous man he is, he held back his tears and gave his oath to do whatever the old man had asked. And when that promise had been given, Oedipus groped for his daughters with his client's hand. And when he had got them, he held them tight. And then he said, "My girls, now you must be brave as you were born to be. You must go now quickly and make no attempts to see things which are mysteries and forbidden to you. Only Theseus must stay and see what happens." We all heard that. We were all in tears at his words. But then the girls turned from him, and we turned with them, following away, leaving him there. And then, after a few moments, as we were walking, I can hardly believe that the man was gone! He was gone! He disappeared from the face of the earth! The king was there, standing on his own, holding his hand in front of his eyes as he had seen something appalling which no living man could bear to see. But then he made short prayers to earth and to heaven, and that was the end of it. How Oedipus died. But by what strange rite of passage he passed from this world into the dark, no living man can say except Theseus. Well, there were no light from heaven struck me, no tidal waves swept me out to sea. But it was taken for sure. Perhaps some kindly ghost from the dark regions came to show him the way, or the earth silently opened and took him to love like a child to his bosom. One thing is certain, there were no tears, no cries of pain or sound of strugglings of any kind. A more